members of the public that are worried about their loved ones that are admitted here, there is an alternative access that will be made available. Patients will be directed there. The last thing that I would also like to say is that the rescue team is still working on site. There has been, as I announced, dogs were called, sniffer dogs were called, and their assessment so far has been negative. But the rescue team continues looking through the rubble, reducing the rubble to ensure that no one that is likely to be trapped is not assisted. I think that is the update now, and we want to thank you. Therefore, I think.
Okay, good evening. Before, can I just make additional updates? My name is Jacob Mamabulo, MSc of Infrastructure Development in our province. We are responsible for providing maintenance services to the hospitals, including this one, all the hospitals in the province. And I just want to confirm that yes, indeed, as the department, we have appointed a contractor on site, and we'll tell you the name. The name is Tanzanani Trading Enterprises. That's the company that was appointed to do the waterproofing, because this building had a problem of water leakages. This was quite a serious problem that needed to be attended to, and the contractor was appointed to do waterproofing. Now, because of the hospital has been built some years ago, the construction technology that was used here is such that there were concrete stones on top, which the contractor felt that in order for them to do their work of waterproofing, they felt they needed to remove the concrete stones. And the manner in which they removed them is they actually put them on a site, which is basically on top of the structure as you sit here. And because of the weight of the concrete stones, it then overweighted on the roof and then it collapsed. What we have observed just from our preliminary observation is that we could clearly see that the structure on which the contractor was working and the way they were removing the concrete stones, we could see that they did not do a proper check on the strength of the building or the roof itself to carry the stones that they put on site. We don't think that there was a preliminary check of the capacity and structure of the building to carry that weight, and that's why it collapsed. And we also verified and checked that when they were doing the work, working on top, it doesn't appear that they had warned or put safety signs to alert people passing by that they were working on the roof of that nature, which was not strong enough, and it could have fell because of the weight of the concrete stones. And so we have made a determination that it is very clear that the contractor, the manner in which they worked, they need to be held accountable for the way in which they approach the work, because certainly they could have taken measures to make sure that what we're sitting with did not happen. So we have taken a decision to remove them off site with immediate effect. Right tonight, we are going to inform them that they have to move off site, because we don't think their continued stay here will give us doesn't give us the confidence that the next job they are going to do will not bring any risk to the members of the public, staff, including themselves. So we'll remove them off site with immediate effect. We are definitely going to hold them accountable and answerable to the questions that I've already raised. How come that they could do this without making a predetermined check on whether the building was strong enough to carry the concrete stones? So we will definitely take them to task on that. They've got a case to answer, we can already see preliminarily, and we are not going to leave any stone unturned. We are going to take action, and already with removing them on site, I think you can clearly see that our determination to hold them accountable Then we'll conduct further investigations on any other related matter on the contractor. But clearly, tonight, we're removing them off site, and then we'll announce further steps tomorrow as we move forward.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think the two MECs have briefed you very well. Me and the Premier will take questions, but I just want to emphasize what the MEC was saying, because I also don't like what I've seen. The contractor was given a job which I regard as very simple: sealing a leaking roof. Waterproofing is a very simple job. I've seen it being done before. He then found concrete, which has been there from the 70s when they were using it to block ultraviolet. It's the technology that was used in the past. That's why the concrete was there. It was not there by accident. He then decides to remove it. And in removing it, he takes you to another part of the hospital on a slab that is very thin and it's not reinforced. There's no reinforcement. That slab is very thin. I don't think it will even take the weight of human beings if they were to walk. But it's in the part of the hospital where nobody has to walk. There's nobody. It was not intended for any weight. I think any weight that we'll put there will definitely collapse. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a structural engineer. Just by looking with my own eyes, my common sense will tell me that you can't put anything here. And that it was not even the part of the hospital where you are supposed to work makes me even more angrier, you know, and that's why I'm happy and commend the MEC for removing them on site immediately. Because in my understanding, he would have said, you gave me a job to seal here, that's the only thing I know. I found some concrete there, I want it removed. Can you hire somebody who is skilled and trained in that type of a thing? Then this disaster will not have happened, this accident will not have happened. But we're happy that all the patients have been seen. I try to practice my old trade by looking at the x-rays myself. Even though the experts look at them and I'm satisfied, nobody, at least the ones we have seen up to so far, we're just waiting for the x-ray from the lady who was not in the side. She just had screams and she took her bag. She was trying to run away in another part of the hospital when she had people screaming and she twisted her ankle. So we're waiting for an x-ray to see if there's any injury there.
Well, firstly, I think the Minister and I arrived after the two MECs have been on site for quite some time. And our immediate concern was to go and check the patients who were injured, which we did. We found that two of them had already been discharged. We were able to talk to some of them to ascertain that the minor injuries that they have suffered are being attended to by the doctors. And certainly our immediate focus now is on the contractor. It doesn't make sense to me why a contractor would have put, after removing the rubble from wherever they were sealing, they would have put it on that roof there, which has no reinforcement. So that's the critical thing. And we are also assured that the Department of Labor inspectors are here. When you have any construction accident in a place where there are people, the Department of Labor is our first port of call. They are here on site. They are also doing inspections, and we will get a report immediately. Our immediate concern is to ensure there's no disruption of hospital services at the moment, and that's why we're here. We're going to continue to await the report from the emergency services and we hope everything is fine, even in the work that they are undertaking right now. Certainly we're going to make sure that the contractor who has been appointed by the Department of Infrastructure Development gives us the answers that we need. Why would you put rubble on that part of the roof that can't carry anything heavy of that sort?
Okay, guys, can we take questions? Okay, a few. I'm taking a few. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Malungelo Boy from ANCA. I just want to get a sense, how many construction workers were working at the time, and have they all been accounted for? And my second question is for the MEC of Infrastructure, Mr. Mamabolo. Surely, sir, somebody should have came here and saw that this company was actually putting the people's lives here in danger. Wasn't that done? Didn't anyone come and check how this company worked and whether we're there? Does this company actually have any experience to start with?
MEC Mama Bolu will take it. Okay. No, we'll come back to you. Okay, MEC Mama Bolu.
Okay, can I answer?
Yes.
Okay. Let me say that yes, indeed, the workers that there were about 2 workers that were reported to us as being affected, and those workers were subsequently released. They've gone home. So from where we are sitting now, although they are still clearing the rubble, but the report we have now is that all workers have been accounted for. Now, with respect to how we work on construction sites like this one, is that as a department we have what we call a resident engineer on site that takes care of all the work that we do here, and of course he has given us the brief, but we will also have to check when we do the further investigations to check what did they see and all that. Remember that what we're talking now is preliminary observations, so we'll still have to go to the bottom of the facts and to check all sides. So the other thing is that whether the contractor is competent or not, obviously when they are applied through normal supply chain processes, it will be on the basis of the fact that they are capable to do work. We don't have a policy where we appoint people that are incapable of doing the work. But obviously from what we have seen here, it is very clear that a contractor, any reasonable contractor would have taken proper measures to check the structure of the building and all that. So already there's a case to answer, and we've talked to that.
But what about the resident engineer? Did he do his job?
Yes, that's what we will check. And of course, if we find that the resident engineer or any of our official has not done their part, we will take steps with immediate effect.
The second journalist that I had noted. Yes.
From ANN7, what are the repercussions of the contractor that was working on the roof, and is it safe enough for the public to come to the hospital from now on?
Who's taking it? Where?
Is it safe enough for the public to come, and what are the repercussions of that will be taken against the contractors that were working on the building? I'm sorry, just one last one. Will there be any compensation to those who are injured as well?
In terms of hospital services, it's also our key priority area of concern. Johannesburg Hospital, or Charlotte Maxeke as we have renamed it, is one of the biggest hospitals, and we cannot afford it not functioning. We have ascertained that all other services are not negatively affected, and that this is an entrance into the hospital. So obviously, if there has been an incident like this, the site will be sealed because there's still debris, and also for further investigation. And that is why I've said earlier on, an alternative access to the hospital will be made available. One of these alternative access areas is the casualty. We will plead with the public to really bear with us during the time of finalizing the investigation and also making this site safe again. There will be signage that is put to assist the public.
The third journalist that I had noted.
There's a part of the question that needs to be answered. Yes, and repercussions. Let me say that when a contractor is found to have done work not in a manner that's not consistent with how they should do their work, shoddy work and all that, there are policies that we follow. One, they can be blacklisted and they are never allowed to do business ever again, and that we are going to look into. And secondly, of course, depending on further investigations, if there's any criminal liability, we will obviously take that action. We are not going to leave any stone unturned, I can assure you about that, and we're not going to blink on this matter. Anyone accountable, negligent, will take appropriate action to the end. So that's what we're going to do. At this point, if this contractor, we can see we're already removing them from site. So already we have taken concrete action. So if we're found they've done something wrong, they'll never do business with us in future and with government in general. So that is one of the actions we'll take. With respect to compensation, we have got, as Premier had said, there are inspectors from the Department of Labor, and of course those issues, once the facts and the reports are presented to us, and of course working with the people that are affected, government policy will take its course.
Yes, I'm sure you do know that if it's the workers who are involved, there's workmen's compensation. For the contractors, any other person who will have got injured, up to so far, I haven't seen any compensable injury, but if it has to happen, it will follow the laws. You don't just get compensated because you were at the site of an accident. You get compensated because you sustain particular injuries which are compensable. But up to so far, we haven't seen any. But the Workmen's Compensation Commissioner will assess the two workers, etc., etc.
The third journalist at the back. No, there was a third journalist at the back. Okay.
From the Mail and Guardian. Are we seeing national and provincial government here because of life city men?
Because of what?
Life city men.
Actually, we have three spheres of government. Where is the MMC? I did say in the earlier briefing that the Joburg Emergency Services was here, and that we've also enlisted Ekurhuleni Emergency Services for the special equipment to help stabilize. We do have the three spheres of government.
Let me also answer for myself.
I also want to answer for myself.
I'm not sure why you're asking that type of a question. It's not for the first time that I come here when there's a problem. In 2010, 6 babies died here of Klebsiella, and I was here immediately. There was no life is demanded. Today I was coming from Cape Town. Just when I switched my phone on, I got a message from the DG that there's been a disaster here. I came straight from the airport, I rushed here because I can't sit and ask questions. They told me something has happened in a hospital and I rushed, and I'm sure the Premier will respond for himself. And the MMC, where is the MMC?
He's coming.
Yes,
Okay,
because
he's coming.
I asked him why he's here. He said no, he's responsible for the safety and security of people in Gauteng and emergency services.
In Johannesburg.
So in Johannesburg, sorry, not Gauteng. So anybody in a position of responsibility, when you hear that there has been something, you don't wait to be invited, you rush. And that's why we all rushed here. They want to know why you are here.
I just want to say that I think when there is an emergency situation, we mobilize all the resources in our province, of our municipalities, all the capabilities. We mobilize them regardless of boundary to direct them to where there is the situation that we have here, an emergency. So I would like to take the opportunity to thank our municipalities, the city of Ekurhuleni and the city of Johannesburg, emergency services, including the Metropolis in both instances, for working with our teams, including disaster management team, the departments of government that are here, and our minister. When this occurred, the minister was in the flight, I was in the meeting. So they sent a meeting to me, the two MECs, when they were here, sent a meeting to me, a message to me in the meeting to say that we have this situation, we are looking at it. The minister was in the flight, so we didn't even talk. We just understood that there is a serious situation. Even with me, minister, is not for the first time. When there is an emergency situation, we rush there. I want to say to you that to say that we have not learned from Esidimeni would not be a representation of the accurate picture. We work every day to say the life Esidimeni tragedy has taught us a lesson. That is important to say, that when there is an issue that requires us to deal with it in the most comprehensive way, to pull all government resources, we have to do that. We have had an emergency in the situation of the collapse of the bridge on Grayston. Again, the provincial government, the city of Johannesburg, were there on the ground. MEC Vadi and the former mayor of Johannesburg had to leave whatever they were doing to rush to the scene of the accident. So that's something that we would like to do. We would like to be able to respond to these situations much more promptly. And today we're happy that we are here. But we want to say to you that the work is still continuing of the rescue teams. And if there's anything that by now we didn't know, we will be able to inform the people of our country and our province appropriately. And thank you from your side as the media for informing our people about this situation. We still have a lot of work to do here.
There was a question. We want to emphasize, if you check there, there's no other part of the hospital that has been affected. It's just that small passage where people walk through. And that's why even the concrete on top is not reinforced, it's very thin, because nobody's supposed to walk on top there. Any other part of the hospital is still functioning normally. And it's very important, even for people up at home, to know that this hospital is still functioning. The reason that the emergency services have been temporarily halted is because we have to deal with this emergency. Once in a few hours they found that everything has been cleared, the emergency area will also be open, but otherwise any other part of the hospital is functioning normally. It has not been affected at all. I heard stories over the media that there was an ICU, what. There's nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
How complex is the search and rescue? How complex is the operation inside? How complex?
Well, they brought sniffer dogs. They've already sniffed 3 times as they removed the rubble, and the results were negative. They just want to make sure. They've even gone through the CCTV cameras to check who was passing there during the accident and account for all the workers in the hospital. They've accounted for all of them, but they don't want to take chances. That's why they have to remove the rubble. In an hour's time, I'm sure every rubble will have been removed. But up to so far, sniffer dogs, which are used for that job, have been negative.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
much, guys.
Thank
We
you
will
very
continue
much.
to give you live feedback and a continuous feed throughout the night and tomorrow morning. So if you have any inquiry, please make sure that you contact the EMS, you contact our spokespersons. All of them will be available. Thank you very much.
And that's